So good evening to you all, my wonderful students. Happy to have you joining with us here at Mathematics Resource Center for another PEP session. All right, so I hope you're excited. Hope you got your book, hope you got your pencil, your pen, your ruler, as you might need that. All right, and is ready to work. All right, I'm going to unmute, let you unmute just to say hello, and then you'll be muted again. All right, so good evening. You can unmute now just to say hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, darling.
Hello, Miss.
Even Miss Hunter.
Hi everyone.
Miss, excuse me, Miss, I
So
have
you
a finish.
Hi, Miss.
All right.
Good
Miss.
evening, Hunter.
Miss.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, all.
Good evening, Miss Hunter.
So what time class is finished?
Good evening, Miss. I just start to come in this meeting.
All right, so we are ready. So if you have any extra question, you can go ahead and send those questions to me directly to me in the chat, and I will respond to you. All right, so hello. All right, so you're all on mute. All right, so when I ask a question, I will direct the question to someone, and that person will get the opportunity to respond when I unmute that person. All right, so welcome again to Mathematics Resource Center. Today we're looking at performance tasks. All right, and I hope you have all your resources to get started. At the end of the lesson, if you would like to join us for our additional PEP mathematics class, which we have on a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., then I will give you the contact details and you can do so. All right. So we're going to get started with our task. All right, so if you have friends who are trying to join at this time, we are full, the capacity is full, right? So we cannot hold, there's no more room. So what you can do is tell your friend to join us on YouTube. They can go over to YouTube at Mathematics Resource Center and they will be able to watch the live session, all right? So I'm gonna ask, all right, so Ariana, go ahead and read for me, Ariana. We're starting off with a question, Ariana. You can unmute. All right, go for me, Abigail. Not Abigail. Aden, go for me, Aden. Aden Walker. All right. So I'm gonna select someone else to read. All right, so all right, Michaela. All right, so I'm gonna select. All right, go ahead and read for me, darling.
Yes, Miss. You have been asked to help your aunt open a new bakery. You will need to use your expertise in fractions, decimals, calculating volume, and graphing in a plane, coordinate plane in order to help her plan out her new bakery.
All right. So we're using fraction, decimal, calculating volume, graphing in coordinate plane in order to help her plan out her new bakery. All right, so we're doing all of that. And of course, we're going to be using the little multiplication, addition, subtraction, and division. All right, so we're going to go with the next one. And Leonardo? All right, Leonardo, go ahead and read for me.
Um, the first step in planning to open a bakery is determining the location of the bakery. Your
Mm-hmm,
decided that she wants a new bakery to be 2 blocks east and 3 blocks
mm-hmm.
of Heidi's bakery shown below. Question 1. If each square represents 1 block, plot the location of your aunt's new bakery in the graph below.
All right, so beautiful reading, Leonardo, and also to it was Abigail that read first. Wonderful reading. All right, so the first step in planning to open a bakery is to determine the location. So, of course, if we're going to open a bakery, we must know where we're going to put that bakery. All right. So we need to know where we're going to put the bakery. And your aunt decided that, okay, I'm going to put my new bakery. I want it to be 2 blocks. So let's highlight where she wants it to be. So she wants it to be 2 blocks. Oops. So she wants it to be 2 blocks east. So we're highlighting that important information. 2 blocks east and 3 blocks north. All right. And that is 2 blocks east, 3 blocks north to Heidi's bakery. All right. So we know where she wants the bakery in location to whose bakery. So the first thing that we're going to do is to find Heidi's bakery. All right. And here's Heidi's bakery right here. So right here you can see Heidi's bakery. And it says 2 blocks east. All right. So I'm going to take 2 blocks, 2 steps east. So there goes my bakery. So 2 blocks east and 3 blocks north. So one, 2 step, and then 1, 2, 3 step. So there goes the bakery. All right, so if each squares represents 1 block, plot the location of your aunt's bakery. So our aunt bakery would be right here, right there. All right, so that's the first one where our aunt's bakery would be. So let's get to the next question now. All right, and this one I'm going to ask, all right, so if you're going to someone to volunteer, if you're going to volunteer to read for me, I need you to make sure that I can read your name. So what I would want you to do is to rename yourself if you're not named properly. All right, so I'm going to ask Shadane to read for me. All right, go ahead now, Shadane.
Your aunt wants to bake sample cookies.
Go on, Shadane.
Your aunt wants to bake sample cookies before opening the bakery to get feedback from the community about her recipe. Her recipe calls for 2.5 cups of flour for every batch of cookies. Each bag of flour she orders has 54 cups of flour. What is the maximum number of complete batches of cookies your aunt can bake for the sample on one full bag of flour?
Awesome. Wonderful reading, Shadane. She reads and she pauses, and you're allowed to digest what's the statements. Wonderful reading, Shadane. All right, so you all have been reading so good. All right, so your aunt wants to bake sample cookies before opening the bakery to get feedback from the community. And as always, yes, we want to see what the community have to say about our cookies or our food or whatever we are offering. So we're going to give them some sample. So her recipe calls for how many cups of flour, Shadane?
2.5.
2.5 cup. All right, good. So it's 2.5 cup of flour. All right. And for every batch of cookies, so each bag of flour contains how many cups? How many cups does it contain, Shadane?
54 cups of flour.
54 cups of flour. All right. So now you're up now, Tamira. Tamira, if the bag, and Shadane, you can assist, it's Tamira and Shadane. If the bag contains 54 cups of flour and we are using 2.5 cups per batch, right? What is the maximum number of batches of cookies can she get from a bag of flour? What would we do to get our answer?
Miss, we will divide.
All right, so who is responding now? Is it?
You would divide.
So that is, hold on. I'm not seeing who is responding just now. Was that Shadane or Tamira?
Miss, the both of us.
Okay. All right. So Shadane, you say divide, and Tamira, you say divide. All right. How would I divide? What would I divide? You say divide. All right. What would I divide?
Miss, 54 by 2.5.
54 by 2.5. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to write that down. Well done. So we have 54 divided by, oops, 2.5. All right. But when we're dividing fraction and we have a mixed number, what do we do? What's the first thing we do in regards to the mixed number? Shadane, Tamira?
Miss, we change it to improper fraction.
We change it into an improper fraction. All right, so we change it into an improper fraction. So now I'm going to ask Tashawn. Tashawn, how do I change 2.5 into an improper fraction?
Miss, you divide.
So how do I change 2.5 into an improper fraction? Go ahead, darling Tashawn.
Miss, you multiply the denominator and the.
All right, so let me just write it over here. Oops. All right, so let's write it over here. So we have 2.5, and we're going to change this 2.5 into an improper fraction. So as Tashawn said, we're going to multiply the denominator by the whole number. And what does that give me, Tashawn? Tashawn?
4, Miss.
4. And then what do I do after that?
You add the numerator.
Awesome. I add the numerator. So I add that 1. And what does that give me?
5.
And that gives me 5. All right. So that gives me 5. Do I just write down 5 only?
No, Miss, you have to still put it back over the same denominator.
Awesome. You go, Tashawn. So I put it back over the same denominator, which is 2. So now my new fraction is 5 over 2, or 5 divided by 2. Well done, Tashawn. All right. So I have 54. And Tashawn, can you remind us what we did with the 2.5? We changed it into a
An improper fraction.
An improper fraction. There goes the math word. An improper fraction. All right, so we have 54. Divide now by 5 over 2, or 5 divided by 2. All right, so thank you, Tashawn. All right. Thank you, Tamira. And I hope everyone is writing down their question. You know, when you come to this class, you must write your question down and then write your solution. All right, so everyone should be writing. All right, so I'm going to go and I'm going to ask Ariana. All right, so Ariana and Leah. All right, so Ariana and Leah. So if you want to answer a question, you just raise your hand and then I'll give you the opportunity to answer. All right, so I'm going to Ariana and I'm going to Leah now. All right, Ariana, what do I do in this step?
Miss, can you please repeat that?
What do I do next? So I have 54 divided by 5 over 2. What would I do next?
You would
All right, so I'm gonna let Ariana, I'm gonna let Leah assist. Leah, go ahead, Leah. What would we do?
Okay, so we would say 27 two twos 4.
We say 2
2
to
twos
4.
4 and 1, and plus 1 is equals to 5.
So we
Plus
got
5
5 over 2.
equals 5 over 2.
And what do we do next?
You divide it by 54 over 1.
Okay, so we're gonna divide 54 over 1 by 5 over 2. All right, so what do I do when I'm dividing fraction?
Miss, you change the division sign into multiplication.
Awesome. So I'm gonna, what do I do? Do I do anything to the first fraction?
Miss, can you repeat, please?
Do I do anything to the first fraction? No.
Do you mean the 5 over 2?
The 54 over 1. Do I change it
Miss,
in any way or do I
it,
write it back?
you leave it just like that.
All right, so we leave it like that. So we still have 54 over 1. And what do we do with the division sign?
You change it into multiplication.
Good. So we change it to multiplication. And I'm going to ask now Ariana. Ariana? So thank you, Leah, so far. Thank you, Leah. Ariana,
You're
what do we do
welcome.
next? Yes, Ariana?
Yes, Miss.
What do we do next? So we now have 54 over 1. We change our division sign to multiplication. What do we do next?
We
All right. You want me to ask Leah to assist? Is that okay? All right. You're back on now, Leah. Thank you, Ariana.
So, Miss, you're going to put back the 5 over 2.
All right. So let's work on that little part now, Leah. So you have the first 2 steps correct so far. So when we're dividing fraction, we keep the first fraction as it is. We change the sign and we flip the second fraction. So keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. All right, so you can get that. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. You want to tell me how we do it, Alia?
Yes.
Tell me, what do we do?
You keep the number, then you change it, and then you flip it.
I know. So let's put a little bit more addition to that. We keep the first fraction as it is. We change the
Change
division
this
sign.
division sign and then we flip it.
And we do what with the second fraction?
We flip it.
We flip it. Awesome. All right, so it's
KCF.
all right, KCF. All right. So keep first fraction, change, division sign, flip, second fraction. All right. So Sashage, Sashage.
Yes, miss.
All right. So Sashage, remind us of what we do when we're dividing fractions. What do we do when we're dividing fractions?
You're going to flip the 5/2.
You're gonna flip the 5/2. All right. So remind us of the first part. So we're gonna flip the 5/2, and yes, it's going to become. So when we flip it, it's going to become Sashage.
2/5.
2/5. All right, so let's remind me now of what we do when we're dividing fraction from the start. What do we do with the first fraction?
When you're dividing fraction,
Mm-hmm.
you have a whole number. You give it a denominator of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then you change the sign to
Which sign?
multiplication. Then you flip the
Which
second.
which sign? When you say change sign, which sign we're changing?
The division
Ah.
sign
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to
Continue.
multiplication.
Mm-hmm.
Then you flip the second fraction.
Mm-hmm.
Then you solve.
All right. Well done,
So
Sasha K. Continue for me, darling. Mm-hmm.
then at times the 54 times 2, and I got 108.
All right, before
Then
you go
at
further,
times the
hold
5.
on, before you go further, Sasha K, do we look for anything that can cancel before we multiply across?
Yes, miss.
All right, and in this case, can anything cancel?
No, miss.
All right. All right, so remember now, we look if anything can cancel and we cancel. But in this case, as Sasha K have said, we don't have anything that can cancel. So we're going to go ahead and multiply across. So continue now, Sasha K.
So multiply 54 times 2, and I
Mm-hmm.
got 108. Then at times 5 times 1, and I got 5. But I was not finished, miss.
All right. So we multiply.
Because
All right, just a sec now, Sasha K. So we multiply our 54 by 2 and get 108, and our 1 times 5 and get 5. And Sasha K say we're not finished. And she is so right. We are not finished. Go ahead and give us the explanation now, Sasha K.
miss, I was finding a number that could go into 108 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't find it as yet, miss.
All right. So when we look at 108 and 5, we can't divide 5, a number into 5 and a number into 108 exactly. But we are going to divide 5 into 108 and we're going to end up with some remainder. So that's what we're going to do. And why we need to do that is because the question asks us, let's look at what the question asks. All right, so the question says, what is the maximum number of complete batches of cookies your aunt can bake for this sample on one full bag of flour? So we need to find out how many batches she can make. So we need to find a whole number, some form of whole number. Even if we end up with a whole number and a fraction, we need to do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to divide 5 into 108. And we're going to say, Sasha, okay, ready?
Yes, miss.
All
So
right.
5 into 1, 0 times. 5 into 10, 2 times.
All
And
right.
5
So
into
five
8,
into
1 time.
so 5 into 1, 0. 5 into 10, 2 times. Good. Mm-hmm. And 5 into 8,
Miss, can I complete?
1 time.
1 time. Mm-hmm. And remainder
Yes, miss. Then we're going to have a remainder of 3.
of 3. All right. So we can write that down as a fraction. So
Yes,
write it
miss.
as
So
a
when you have
fraction. Mm-hmm. Go on, honey.
so at the fraction, you're going to have 21 wholes and
Mm-hmm.
3/5.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That is the fraction, miss. 3/5.
All right, good. So now we need to answer the question. Have we answered the question as yet? We have done all the calculation. Have we
No,
answered the
miss.
question as yet? All right, so Sesha K, I'm gonna pass this question, this next one, on to all right, so just a sec. All right, so I'm gonna pass this one on to Leonardo. The next question. Go, Leonardo. Leonardo.
Yes, miss.
All right. So have we answered the question?
Yes, miss.
Have we answered the question? Read the question. What did the question ask us to do?
To find how many batches that what's it mean? That the aunt could make.
All right. So how many batches of cookie? So how many batches of cookie could she make out of one bag of flour? Given that each batch take 2.5 cups of flour, how many batches from this calculation that we have, our final calculation here, how many batches is it telling us that we can make?
21 batches.
21. So we would put three-fifths. It would be the whole number aspect only. It is 21 batches. All right, because we're looking at an entire batch. So we're looking at the batches, and the batches it have to be whole number. All right, so it would be
Miss.
21 batches. All right, thank you, Leonardo. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question. Leonardo, stay with me. I'm gonna let you read. Thank you, Sasha K, you did well. Thank you. Thank you, Ariana. All right, thank you also. All right, so we're gonna go to the next question now. Oh, so there goes our cupcakes. All right, so we're gonna go to the next question now. Go for me now, Leonardo. Read.
You want to help your aunt plan her order for buying ingredients. Your aunt knows that she needs to buy at least 1,200 chips to help with her first batch of chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm.
If each bag contains 95 chocolate chips, how many full bags of chocolate chips will her aunt purchase to have 1,200 chips? Explain how you know.
All right. So Leonardo, we have Aiden. Aiden is here to assist us with the solution. So it's Leonardo and Aiden. So we're looking at the chocolate chips, right? And let's look at some important information. Tell me the first important information that you see there, Aiden.
Miss, you
And
need
thank you
to
for
go to the
reading,
right.
Leonardo. Thank you for reading so lovely. Go ahead now, Aiden.
Miss, you're going to need to know divide 95.
You're going to?
Divide 95 into 1,200.
Awesome. So we're going to divide 95 into 1,200. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put that down here. So it is 1,200 divided by 95. All right. And Aiden, so let's highlight that information. So it's 1,200 chocolate chips and each bag contains 95 chocolate chips. How do we know that we're dividing? What tells you that we were dividing, Aiden?
Miss that there are 95 chocolate chips in a bag, and you need 1,200 to make the first batch of chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to divide the 95 by the 1,200 to figure out the answer.
All right, good. So if we want to reach 1,200, right, we're trying to figure out what number times 95 would get us as close as possible to 1,200. All right, or get us to 1,200 exactly. And that means that we're going to divide. All right, so well done, Aiden. Well done so far. All right, so we're going to divide now, Leonardo.
Yes, miss.
So let's go. Tell me how I'm going to divide now. You want us to do long division or short division?
I normally do long division because I feel more comfortable with it.
Okay, so I'm going to just rewrite this and we're going to do long division together. All right. All right, so let's go now, Leonardo.
Yes, miss. 5 divided by 1 is 0.
All right, so 95 into 1, we can't. That's 0. Good. Do I need to put down the 0 at the front?
I don't think so.
All right, continue.
Alright, so 5 into 12 goes
Is it 5 or 95?
95 into 12, you can't, so that's a 0.
Do I need to put down that 0?
No, miss.
All right.
So 9 divided by 20. It goes 9 divided by 20 goes 2 times the remainder 2.
So come again now. So 95 into 120. How many sets of 95? If you're buying something for $95, right? And you have $120, how many of them can you buy? So we say 95 into 120. Take your time, Leonardo. So remember now, everyone should be writing their question and everyone should be working out their solution, all right? And I should be seeing more persons raising hand with answers, all right? Because everyone should be working out their solution, all right? Go ahead, Leonardo. All right, Leonardo, I'm going to let Aiden assist you. Okay, Leonardo?
Yes, miss.
All right, Aiden, go ahead now. So we have 95 divided into 120. Yes, Aiden? All right, so both of you know, I want you to think about it. If you have $120, how many, and you're purchasing something for $95, how many of them can you purchase? If all you have is $120.
1.
1. So 95 into 120 is 1. So let's write that one down. Right over the 0, the last digit of the 120. Good. And then we're going to say now, Leonardo, 1 times
95
which is
95.
all right. So 1 times 95 is 95. Good. So I put it under the 120 and I do my subtraction. And what is 95 from 120?
25, miss.
Good. 25. Nice. All right. What do I do next, Leonardo?
You divide the 95 by 125, which you can't.
Hold on. So we put down our 25 and we're going over to the next column. You remember that step?
Oh, yes, miss.
Yes.
You
And we're
bring
going to
down
bring
the
down the,
0.
we bring down the 0. What's our new number?
220, 250.
250. What are we going to do next?
Divide the 95 by 250.
So divide the 250 by 95 or divide 95 into 250. All right, so I want you to all practice how you say your statements. So we're either saying divide 95 into 250 or divide 250 by 95. All right, so Leonardo, think about it now. If something is for $95 and you have $250, how many can you purchase?
Two, miss.
2. All right. So 95 into 250 is 2. All right. And what is 2 times 95? 2 times 95?
185, miss.
All right. So it's, go again.
Miss, I said 185.
185. You want to check that for me again?
190, miss.
190. Good job. All right. So we're going to do, what do we do next?
Subtract.
Subtract 0 from 0.
0.
0. 9 from 5.
Can't, so you borrow.
Can't. So we go over to the hundreds column and we borrow a set of 10. So 10 plus 5, we now have 15. All right. So what is 9 from 15?
14, miss.
Check it again. 9 from 15. Not 14. Check. 9 from 15.
6, miss.
Go again.
I said 6, miss.
All right. So it is 6. Good. And 1 from 1?
0.
All right. Good. So now what do we say here now?
95 divided by 6. Divided by 60, sorry.
All right, now 95 divided by 60, but 95 into 60 or 60, 95 into 60 or 60 divided by 95. Can we divide 60 by 95? Can we divide 60 by 95?
Yes.
If you have, if something costs $95 and you have $60, can you purchase it? Leonardo?
No, miss.
All right, so we can't go any further because we cannot take a set of 95 out of a set of 60. So this is where we're going to stop and we're going to write down our remainder. All right, so we have a remainder of 60. So remainder 60, and we can also write that as a fraction. Thank you, Leonardo, you did well. All right, so we're going to go with Khalil. You're up. Jamie, you're up as well. Thank you, Leonardo. Thank you, Aiden. Well done. All right. All right, so I have Jamie, Khalil.
Yes, miss.
All right. All right, so okay, I heard you both. All right, good. So now how do I write this down as a fraction? 95, I have 12 remainder 60. How do I write that down as a fraction?
Wow.
Yes, Khalil?
12 over 60.
12. So I'm going to write down 12. 12 is the first part, but not 12 over 60. So 12 is the whole number. And the 60 now is going to form a part of the fraction.
Oh.
So 12. Yes, Jamie?
12 over 60.
Not 12 over 60. So let's think about it again. So the 12 is our whole number. So 12 whole. So the 12 doesn't go over any number except if we're putting it over one, which we're not going to in this case. So it's 12, which is 12 whole. And then to think about it, what do I do with the 60? So Isabel Harrison, yes, Isabel, it is 12 and 60 over 95. All right. So Isabel, thank you for that, for assisting us. All right. So Jaden and Khalil, you're still with me. So for 1,200 chips, she would need to purchase 12 whole bags, right? And she would still need an extra 60 more. So she would get 12 whole bags and she'll still need an extra 60 more. Khalil?
So that would mean she would need 13 bags.
Ah, stop. Who is that? Is that Khalil or Jamie?
It's coming on, miss.
Khalil, well done. All right. So because when we divide our 95 into 1,200, we realize that, okay, if she divides this exactly, she does not get a perfect whole number. She gets some fraction, right? And she needs to make sure that she covers the entire 1,200 cookies. So as Khalil have said, given that it's 12 and 60 out of over 100, we need to purchase 13 bags. Why can't we purchase 12 bags, Jamie?
It's because 12 bags would be too little.
12 bags
Not enough.
would not be enough. All right, and we can prove that to say that 12 bags would not be enough. All right, I hope everyone have written down their answer from the long division. And if not, I want you to go ahead and practice your long division when you're finished. All right, so you need to practice your long division. All right, so we know that we'll get 12 whole bags. Let's see what 12 bags would be. So we'll do 95 times 12. Help me with this multiplication, Jamie. 2 times 5,
10.
10. 2 times 9,
18.
plus 1,
19.
19. Good. All right, what do I do next, Jamie?
Miss, you place a 0 below the 0.
Good. And then what do I do?
You multiply 1 times 5, which should give you 5.
We multiply 1 times 5, which will give us 5.
And then 1 times 9, which would give you 9.
And what do I do?
You add the 190 to the 950.
And that gives me 5 and 9.
1,400. 1,400.
Go again. So 5 and 9 is 4. 9 and 2.
11.
All right. So we get 1,140. Would that be enough chocolate chips, Jamie? All right, thank you, Talisa. Would that be enough chocolate chips
No,
for the
miss.
cookies, Jamie?
No, miss.
No, all right. So that's one way we can prove to say, okay, we would need 13 bags because if we purchase 12 bags, that's just 1,140 cookies. We're going to be short. And who wants their cookies to be short? We want to make sure we have all the ingredients. All right. All right. So we're going to continue with, so let's look at some reason. So, all right, so Tamira said, Miss, it's 13, the answer, because it can go in both of the number. Okay, I agree that it's 13, but do not agree with the last part. All right, let's see if anyone else gave me a reason in the chat. All right. All right, so if your friends cannot get in, right, the YouTube channel, which we're streaming live on, is Mathematics Resource Center. All right, so you can go over to Mathematics Resource Center now, and they will be able to see our live streaming. All right, so I will just type that in the chat so everyone can see that. All right.
Miss, sorry, I had to do something. Repeat the question if there was.
Okay, I didn't ask a question just now. I was just saying that if you
No.
have a friend that is not able to join, you can ask them to join us at Mathematics Resource Center for the live session on YouTube, all right? Because the platform is full.
Oh, okay. I just heard you a little bit of what you said, and I assumed it was a question.
Okay, that's okay. All right, so I just sent you the information in the chat. All right, so we're going to continue now with the next question. All right, so we know 13 bags and we have our reason. All right, so we're going to continue with the next question. All right. All right, so the next question, and we're going to use some other person. All right, so we're going to use, let's see who's available. All right. So thank you, Khalil. And thank you, Jamie. You did well. All right. All right, so I'm going to go with Rabino. Okay, so not Rabino, but okay, so we're gonna go with Makila. All right, so remember, if you want to participate, you just raise your hand, and when I see your hand, then I'll allow you to participate. And Takelia. All right, so if you want to participate, all I want you to do is raise your hand, and then I will select you to participate. All right, so if I don't see anyone new raising their hand, then I will just select someone who have participated before. All right, so we're gonna continue now. All right, so go for me now. Oops, Takelia. If I don't pronounce your name correctly, just correct me when you join. All right, so go for me, Takelia.
Using the amount of bags of chocolate chip cookies in question 3, you need to help your aunt find how much money she would spend on chocolate chip cookies. The cost of each bag of chocolate chip cookies is $4.39. Your aunt followed the steps below to determine the amount spent on chocolate chip cookies would be $0.33.
Mm-hmm. Fine. So these are the steps that you're on to now. So go ahead and read the steps that you're on to, Takelia.
Number one, find the number of bags needed. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, divide the number of bags by cost per bag.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, find the total cost of chocolate chip cookies.
All right. So we're looking at what Takela's aunt did or your aunt did. So your aunt say, okay, these are the steps that I'm going to take to find the amount of money that I would spend per bag for chocolate chips cookie. All right. So one, she did find the number of bags. So that is 13 from our question. And what did she do next? Michaelia?
Divide the number of bags by cost per bag.
And when you heard that she did that, what came to your mind? Do you think that she's correct?
Yes.
You think she's correct? What says you, Takelia? Do you think she's correct?
No, miss.
All right. So before you go further now, Takelia, let's look at some really interesting information. The cost of each bag of chocolate chips is $4.39. And we want 13 bags. We want how many bags? 13 bags. And your aunt is saying that she is going to pay 33 cents for the 13 bag. Does that sound normal? For 13 bags and one bag costs $4.39? Does that sound like it is the correct thing to do, Takelia?
No, miss.
All right. And when your aunt show up to the supermarket, with this 33 cents, saying, okay, I need 13 bags of chocolate chips, and one bag costs $4.39, she's going to be embarrassed, isn't it? Isn't
Yes,
it, Takelia?
miss.
All right. So she would be embarrassed, right? Because that is one bag is for $4.39. And now we see the importance of these math. Now we see the importance of doing mathematics. All right. Takele, you're going to tell me what your aunt should have done. So since she divide the number of bags by the cost per bag, and that gave her the incorrect answer, what should she have done?
She should have multiplied the number of bags by the cost of each bag.
All right. So she should have multiplied the number of bags by the cost of each bag. All right. Thank you, Takelia. Now, Michaelia, tell me what I'm going to write down. All right. So well done, Takelia. Michaelia, you're up. What am I going to write down? So I'm no longer dividing, but I am going to multiply. So I come over to my auntie and I'm like, Aunt, this is not what you should do. Let me show you what to do. For you to get the right amount that you're going to spend, we are going to multiply. So now, Michaela, tell me now what I need to write down. So you're helping your auntie multiply now. What should she write down?
You're going to multiply 4.39 times
Mm-hmm.
13.
4.39 times 13. All right, good. Thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Michaela, and thank you, Takelia. Well done. All right, so I have uh Kadian And I have Kadian and Alexia. All right, so Kadian and Alexia, you're going to assist me. All right, so if your name isn't, if you haven't changed your name, right, then I won't be able to call on you. So if you want me to call you, all right, for you to assist, all right, so I'm going to add Josiah as well. All right, so we have 3 persons. If you want me to call you to assist us in the calculation, just go ahead and change your name so that your name is readable. All right, and if you're using your phone name, change your phone name so I can see exactly who I am calling to. All right, so I have now, I have Josiah, I have Alexia, and I have Kadeen. Kadeen or Kadian. I'm not sure. Kadian? Is it Kadian? All right. So I'm going
Dean.
to go
Miss, it's
again.
Kadeen.
Kadeen.
It's
All right, Kadeen.
Kadeen.
All right, good. So tell me the first thing that you do, Kadeen.
Miss, for part D, this one,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Miss, 3 times 9.
Which is
3 times 9, 27.
nice. And then
3 times 3.
so I put on my 7. What do I do with the 2?
Miss, carry, put it above the 3.
All right, good. All right, continue now.
Then it said 3 times 3,
Which is
9. And
mm-hmm.
add the 2.
Which is
And add the 2.
which is
11. 11.
all right, good. So 3 times 3, 9 plus 2, 11. So I put on the 1. What do I do with the next one?
Miss, I can't see the multiplication because
Okay, go again, Kadeen.
Miss, I cannot see the multiplication because they're saying 2 people entered the waiting room.
Okay.
Miss,
All right. So I'm gonna ask Kadeen, I'm gonna ask Alexia to continue. Go for me, Alexia.
Miss, you should put it up.
Alexia, you're able to see the multiplication?
Yes, Miss.
All right, so continue. So we have done 3 times 3 times 3, 9 plus 2, 11. We put down our 1. Carry our next one there. What do we do next? All right, Alexia, I'm gonna let Josiah assist. Josiah, go ahead, Josiah.
Miss, which part me fi do?
So we're here now. So we're gonna do, so we have done 3 times 3 plus 2, and we've gotten 11. We put down our 1 there, and we carry the next one. So we're going to go ahead with the 3 times 4 now.
3 times 4 is 12 and 1, 13.
Good, nice, 13. Do I put down my decimal point here? Do I write my
Yes,
decimal point
miss.
there?
Yes, miss.
No, we don't write our decimal point yet when we're doing multiplication. We do it at the very last point. All right, so we're gonna continue working. All right, so
Yes,
we're gonna go
miss.
to the 1 now. So we'll put our placeholder here, and we go to the 1. 1 times 9.
9,
9.
All right, 1 times 3.
3,
Good. 1 times 4.
4,
Good. What do I do next?
add.
All right, so we add, and adding, what do we get?
5 to 7,
Mm-hmm.
0, carry the 1,
Good. Mm-hmm.
7,
Mm-hmm.
and add 4 and 1 and 5.
Good job. Oops. All right, so I'm gonna write it over here. So it should be 5707. It's when we at this last point that we put our decimal point in, not before. So we're gonna count how many digits fall behind the decimal point now, and that will tell us where to put our decimal point. So it's 1, 2 digits. So we come 1, 2, and we put our decimal point. All right, so it's 1, 2, and we put our decimal point. So the total cost, tell me the total cost, what it would be.
57.0 $57.07.
All right, so when we're talking about money now, we don't say 0.07 when it comes on to money, but we're going to say dollars and cents. So $57, how many
7
cents?
And 7 cents.
7 cents. All right, well done. All right, you see the big difference between what we did and what your auntie did at first?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
She is
Yes,
so way
miss.
off. You see that big difference? All right, so
Yes, miss.
we ought to learn how to do these little questions so that we can help ourselves and help the persons around us. All right, so we're gonna go with, we just did this one. All right, so we did this one just now. Kadeem, Alexia,
Yes, miss.
keep your
Yes, miss.
microphones muted until you're answering. All right, so thank you for answering though.
Yes, miss.
All right, well done. So we're gonna go with the last question. This is the last question that we're doing. All right, and I am going to ask Shanali. Shanali, and Shanali, Yolandi, and we're gonna ask one more person. Let's see who else. Shamonia. All right. So we try to make everyone who put their hand up get an opportunity to participate. All right. So if you have participated already, yes, you can keep your hand up in the event that we do not have someone else to participate. All right. So thank you. So we have 3 persons, and this is our last question. So I'm gonna ask, starting with Shanali. Shanali, go ahead and read for me, darling.
You take note of the dimensions of all the cupcakes pans your aunt has for the bakery. You find that one cupcake pan has a length inches, a width of 7 inches, a height of 2 inches. Your aunt wanted you the volume of cake pan with twice the weight doubled. Explain what would happen to the volume of the cake pan if the weight is doubled.
All right. All right, so thank you for reading. All right, so your connection was a little bit off, but I can see that you're an excellent reader, Shanali. So I'm gonna ask Yolandi to read as well. All right, so thank you, Shanali. We're gonna ask
Yes.
Yolandi to read as well. Go ahead, Yolandi. Did I pronounce your name correctly, darling? All right, go ahead, Violanti. Go ahead and read for me, dearie.
Essential goods and services. Last week, I laid out how we'll make sure that our swiftly ever, unlike the first time around. Focus on small business on Main Street.
All right, so I'm gonna ask. So I'm gonna ask Shamonia, since we're not hearing from Yolandi, I'm gonna ask Shamonia to read for me.
Miss, should I read back everything?
Yes, yes, yes. Because it was a little bit broken. All right. Shanali did a really good job, but it was a little bit broken. All right, the connection was a little bit poor. So just go ahead and read for us again, dearie.
Okay, Miss. You
Mm-hmm.
are taking note of the demonstration of all the cake pans. Your aunt asked for the bakery. You found the one cake pan had a length of 11 inches, a width of 7 inches, and a height of 2 inches. Your aunt wanted you to find the volume of a cake pan with twice the weight double. Explain what would happen to the volume of the cake pan if the weight was doubled.
Right. So what do you think will happen? So I have Shanali and I have Shamonia. I'm just gonna add one more person's Cardelia. Cardelia. All right, so we're gonna add Cardelia. All right, so we're gonna add Cardelia. All right, so Cardelia, Shanali, and Shamonia. Let's look at the lengths of the measurements for the cake pan that Auntie have. So tell me the length, Cardelia, tell me the length, the width, and the height.
Miss, the length is 11 inches.
Good, so length is 11 inches, good.
The width is 7 inches.
The width is 7 inches. So these are important information enough. So we must highlight. As a matter of fact, remember you should be writing your questions. So go ahead and write down those questions. All right. And then we're putting in our solution. And if you have the textbook, this is taken exactly from your textbook. So if you have the textbook, you can go ahead and write down the questions, write your solution in your textbook if mommy or teacher permits you to. All right. Or you can write it on another book, in another book, and you know where to find those questions. All right. So continue for me now.
Cordelia.
Cardelia. All right. Go ahead for me, darling.
And the height is 2 inches.
And the height is 2 inches. All right. So thank you, Cardelia.
Yes, miss.
I believe it is. Let me see if I can tell you. I know it's the grade 6 PEP textbook. All right. I know it's the grade 6 one. I'm gonna tell you the exact name. Um, let me see if I find the exact name. I'll tell the exact name shortly. Oh, I don't find the name, but I get the name for you come next lesson, next session. But I know it is the performance. It's one of the performance task book. I don't have the exact name. Shaquan, if you're here, Shaquan, just message in the chat the name of the textbook. All right, so these were questions sent to me, but I know they're directly from the textbook. All right, so Shaquan, if you're here, just message me the correct name of the textbook. All right, so look on your textbook and tell me the name so I can share with the others. We will be having a textbook coming out soon for PEP, right? It will be strictly mathematics, as you know, that's what we do. All right, so when we do, it will be advertised and person can get a copy of that. But presently we're using one of the performance book, the PEP book that is available, and I'll get the exact name and author for persons um who wants that copy. All right, for persons who want to know exactly which book we're using. And if you're interested in our PEP class, you can just leave your number in the chat below, in the chat, and we will definitely get in contact with you. Just leave your name and leave your number, and we'll reach out to you and get in contact with you. And again, if you have persons who were trying to join and didn't get the opportunity to join, they can go over to Mathematics Resource Center on YouTube, and they will be able to watch a full video which was streamed live. So we're going to finish off with this question, and I still have my 3 students waiting. All right, so I'm going to continue with Shamonia. So who gave me response just now? Cardelia gave me the length. Shamonia. So I'm back to you, Shamonia, now. So your aunt wanted you to find the volume of a cake pan with twice the width doubled. Explain what would happen to the volume of the cake pan if the width was doubled. So what would happen to the volume of the cake pan if the width was doubled? All right.
Okay, miss.
Mm-hmm.
The length would be 11, the width would be 7, so it
Mm-hmm.
would be like a square.
It would be like a square. So, so tell me now. Tell me what you remember about a square.
A square has all equal sides.
So if the width is 11, not the width, if the length is 11 and the width, now we're doubling the width. So how much would the width be? If we double the width, if it's 7 and we double it, what would it now be?
Miss 14.
It would be 14. Good. All right. So yes, Isabel, yes, Teresian. All right, so it would be 14. And what would the height be?
Miss, may you repeat that?
What would the height be? The height?
2 inches.
It would still be 2. All right, so you're so polite. All right, so I admire that about you. Well done. All right, so the height would still be 2. All right. What will happen now? So they want you to explain what will happen to the volume. If you say go ahead and double the width, what will happen to the volume? Shanali, you're allowed to answer at this point as well. What will happen to the volume?
Yes, the volume increase.
Volume would
Increase.
the volume would increase. Can we say by how many our what amount the volume would increase? No?
Yes, Mr. Clay. Volume would increase. The length as the width 24.
All right. So I hear Shanali saying the volume would increase. All right. So thank you, Shanali. All right. Anyone? So I'm gonna unmute some other persons now. All right. So thank you, Shanali. Thank you, Shamonia. You did well. Thank you for your reading. Thank you, Cardelia. All right. So we're gonna have all right. So adding Annalise, Leonardo, you're added. And Annalise, you're added. And Alicia, you're added. All right, so we have 3 persons, and these 3 persons will be wrapping up this question with us. All right, so I'm going to go with Annalise. Did I pronounce your name correctly, Jerry? Annalise? No, it's not Annalise, it's Anelia. Sorry, Anelia.
Yes, miss.
All right. What would happen to the volume of the cake pan if the weight was doubled? What would happen to the volume? What can you tell me what would happen to the volume? All right. Alicia, I'm gonna let Alicia take a try, Analia. Alicia,
Yes.
what would happen to the volume of the cake pan? If you double the weight, what would happen to the volume of the cake pan? What is the first thought came to your mind?
The numbers would be you would have to have 2 7.
Okay, so we'd have 2 sevens, or in other words, with double 7, which would make it
14.
14. But what will happen to the volume? If we're to go ahead and find the volume, what do you think would happen?
You have to multiply length times width times height.
All right, so we'd multiply length times width times height. So to find the volume, we'd multiply length times width times height. But I'm still coming back to the question, what do you think would happen to the volume? Someone says it would increase. By how much would it increase? What do you think? Yes, Alicia?
306.
Are we not taking the answer yet? I want you to reason through the question and to give me what you think is going to happen before we actually work it out. So we want to hear that reasoning coming out before we work it out. So we have an idea of what we're working towards. All right. So before I take the answer, yes, Alicia?
You would twice the numbers.
So with twice the numbers. So I hear something twice coming out with twice the numbers. All right. So I'm going to take the next response from, Leonardo.
Yes, miss.
All right, Leonardo, what do you think will happen to the volume?
I need to multiply by 2, so it will increase.
It will increase? All right, so here everyone's saying increase. So let's see exactly what will happen. In my mind, I'm saying that the volume is going to double. If I double one of the sides, then I'm saying that the volume is going to double. Anyone agree with me and think that will happen? Even if it's only one side I'm doubling? Agree with me, Leonardo?
Yes.
All right, so Leonardo agree. All right, Leonardo, you don't have to agree with me, no, not because I'm the teacher. Do you agree with me, Amelia?
Yes, miss.
All right. Do you agree with me, Alicia? All right, so let's find the volume of the original pan. So here goes our original pan. So we're going to find the volume of the original pan, and we have given the formula length times width times height. Go ahead now, Anelia, tell me the length.
The length is 11 inches.
Good. Tell me the width.
The width is 7 inches.
Tell me the height, darling. Good.
The height is 4 inches.
All right, 2 inches. And now tell me what would be the volume of the original pan. 11 times 7 times 2. Go ahead, Leonardo.
What was
I'm going
that,
to take
miss?
the answer. So what's the answer for 11 times 7 times 2?
One hundred and 44, miss.
How much?
Miss, I said 140.
You want to check that for me again? Anelia, Alicia, either you can answer as well.
So I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
184.
I think Leonardo is moving too fast with those fingers, you know. Come, Leonardo, take your time, work it out. Take your time.
308.
So we're multiplying 11 times 7 times 2. 11 times 7 times 2.
154, miss.
All right, 154. Anything goes at the end? Anything goes at the end?
Inches cube.
All right, inches cube, or we say cubic inches. All right. All right, so that's the first pan. Let's see if we double the pan now, what will happen? So we double the pan now, what will happen? Are we going to use the same formula to find the volume when we double the pan?
No, miss.
Remember now, I did not say the same numbers, but I say the same formula. Is it the same formula to find the volume of the pans when they're double? Are we using length times width times height just the same?
Yes, miss.
Yes, we're using length times width times height just the same. All right. Now, Leonardo, tell me what you were thinking about now. You were thinking about the numbers.
I was thinking about the 154 inches square cube.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that was wrong, so I was thinking
Hold
that.
on. Go back a bit now. So you were thinking, I did not hear part of what you said. So you were thinking about the 154 inches cube, or cubic inches. What were you thinking about it?
What was that, miss?
So tell me what you were thinking about the 154 cubic inches. What did you think?
So I was thinking about multiplying the 154 inches cube by
by 2. All right. So I'm going to write that down here. All right, so it's 154. So to find the next one, it's 154 cubic inches by 2. And when you're ready, I'm going to take your answer from you shortly. All right, so I'm going to continue with the ladies now over here with my girls. And they say we're doing length times width times height. Analia, tell me what the length would be. Alicia, you can tell me just the same. Alicia?
The length would be 22.
Ah, but did they say that we double the length or we double the width? What did they say we double?
The width.
Yes. All right. So is the length going to change?
No.
No. So the length is still 11. So tell me now, the length is 11. What's the width?
7 inches.
Go again.
7 inches.
So think about it now. What did they say we double? The width. All right. So are we going to write down 7 inches? There is 7 inches what we're supposed to write down.
Yes, Miss.
But if we double the width and the width was 7, what is the new width?
14.
14 times what's the height now?
2 inches.
2 inches. Go ahead and work that out for me now, darling.
Miss.
So we're doing 11 times 14 times 2. So check it again. All right, Leonardo, Anelia, Alicia, all of you can give a response. So Anelia is responding at the moment. Alicia, if when you work it out, you can give me an answer just the same. Leonardo, if you have worked it out, you can give me an answer just the same. All right, I'm going to add Tashawn. All right, Tashawn, have you worked out your answer already? If you have, you can give me the answer, Tashawn. Or
Miss,
Tashawn.
I have. Miss,
All right,
for
what's your
my
answer, Derry?
Miss, I have 308 inches.
All right, 308 inches. Anything comes after the inches?
Cube, Miss. Cube.
All right, good. All right, so we have 308 inches cube. All right, so let's look at what's happening now. Leonardo, what is your 154 times 2? What did you get when you do that, Leonardo? What is 154 times 2? Who wants to answer?
Miss 306 inches squared.
8 inches.
It is
Inches cubed, sorry.
308. 308. Yes, cube. All right. So let's look at it now. They say explain what would happen to the volume of the cake pan if the width W. So now we work it two-way. Leonardo said, okay, I'm just going to double the entire volume, and that was the new volume. And then we say, let's work it out. If we double the volume, it is going to be 14, the new, if we double the width, it's going to be 14, the new width, times our original length, which is 11, and our original height, which is 2. All right, so that's what we'd have, and our answer is 308 cubic inches. Now let's look at what our new answer is if we double the width and what our previous answer was. What do you see happen to the previous answer? If you double the inches, the width, what happened? What is it that happened to the previous answer?
If you double the width, you get 308 inches squared, and if you just leave it like that and then double the result, which is 100 inches squared, you double that and then you get the 308. So they're similar.
All right, so they're the same. All right, and it's not square but cube. So we're saying now, what is it that happened? If I double the width, then what happens to the previous volume? It also
changes.
Double. All right, so changes, increase, and it increase or it changes in the terms of it double. So if I had double the length, what would have happened to the volume? What if it was the length that I double? Would the volume double as well?
Yes, Miss.
Yes. And what is if it was the height that I double? Would the volume double as well?
Yes, Miss.
All right. Yes. So what we're saying now is to so take off a solution for this one. If you double one side, then the volume would double. If you double the width, the volume double. If you double the length, the volume double. If you double, if you double the the height, the volume double. What if it was the case that I half it? What if I half the height? What would have been the volume of the cake pan? So if I double any of the sides, the volume double. What if I decided that I'm going to half one of the sides? What is going to happen?
Volume decreases.
All right, it's going to decrease by how much? Since I half, it's going to be?
1.
Yeah, the height is going to be 1, but what would be the volume of the cake pan? What would be the volume of the cake pan? So remember now, if I double, it becomes twice. So if I half, it's going to become?
It would become, the volume would become half.
And what is half of 154? Half of 154?
27.
27. Check that for me again, man. Half of 154?
77.
77. All right. So 77 inches, cubic inches. All right. So well done. Well done, Alessia. Well done, Amelia. Well done, Leonardo. You did absolutely a good job today. So to the other persons who read for me, beautiful reading, and for my other polite students, all right, and for the other persons who answered questions today. All right, so this comes to the end of our session. We did almost 40 minutes extra, so we did an hour and 40 minutes, and this question isn't finished. All right, so this is just telling us that we need to really practice, 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 and read through those questions and take our time to answer those questions. All right. So this brings us to the end of our session. Thank you for joining us here at Mathematics Resource Center. If you would like to be a part of our paid math class on a Saturday, you can go ahead and leave your name and contact information in the chat, and I'll definitely contact you for us to discuss further. All right, so you can leave your number or leave mommy number, and I can contact mommy if it's the case that you want to be a part of our Saturday class. Thank you all for joining, and you can go on over to YouTube, watch the session, this session. So you can go watch the session again. If you did not get to write off a question, what bright students do, they go back to the video, they write down their question, they write down their solution, and they make sure that they get this question right the next time. All right, so you can write the question again. Don't have the solution in front of you, try it for yourself and see if you get it correct. And when you look at the video and it's correct, you just give yourself a tick and say, oh, I got this one. All right, so that's how we practice. We go over questions that we have done and we try them again and again, and that's how we master mathematics. All right, so go ahead, you can leave. Have yourself a superb evening, and it is a pleasure being here with you, teaching you mathematics.
Same to you, miss.
See you next week. Next week, we will do another part of performance task, and then the other week, we do ability test again. All right? Bye-bye, Leonardo. Bye, Alicia, Amelia.
Bye, miss.
Bye-bye, all.
Goodbye, Miss.
Bye, my darling. All right, so if you want further information regarding the PEP mathematics class, I am going to go ahead and put the information in the chat so you can contact me. I'm just giving you my contact number. You can reach me on WhatsApp. Or you can contact me on Facebook, Felica Hunter or Mathematics Resource Center. We have a page. All right, so have a good evening.